Captain Dean Show.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Captain Dean Show. I'm Captain Dean. So I just transitioned from filming episode 3 of my $20 base video. The $20 base. We're back and it's time to and now I'm turning back to get on with Nate's Jaguar bass. So Nate is the drummer in Trash Devils. We've been bandmates for a couple of years now. He's also a very accomplished guitar player, bass player, and he's a huge Blink-182 fan, which is kind of what brought us together in the first place. He acquired this Jaguar bass, and if you've watched the previous video on it.
Shit!
It was dipped in that pink Pepto-Bismol plasticky, rubbery substance. Somebody told me what it was, and I just, don't keep up with everything. As they say, the hard drive is not storing memory like that anymore. So I've been sitting on this for a while because it was wintertime when he gave it to me. I couldn't paint or do any work of any kind painting wise, but what I could do is work on the body. So we are going to do a Mark Hoppus inspired Jaguar bass, which is why I had to route out this area so that the inverted pickups will fit. I had to fill in the jazz pickup cavities so that we can paint that a solid color. And when you work on these Squire Jaguar bodies, you have to fill in a little bit of the open cavity here from the original one where it's got the volume and the tone knobs going all the way down to here. For this bass, these particular pick guards only go so far. So you actually have to fill in a little bit of the area right there. So I did all that earlier when I got it, and I knew it was just going to sit in the closet and wait for the proper time of year, which is now. So what I'm going to do now is I need to basically put a primer coat of paint on this for two reasons. One, I want to get a solid color on here. I want to use gray, do like a traditional gray primer paint on this body just so I can get some paint on the body. But when you do things like I do, all of these bases had the jazz pickup cavity filled in. I use epoxy with a mixture of wood putty, and I sprinkle in bits of the drilled out wood from the actual body itself. So you drill this out, chisel this area out, and you just take all that sawdust and sprinkle it in here and here, and then you just do all the work you need to do to make it smooth. So in order to make sure that none of these scar marks, which it looks terrible right now, but I'm telling you, just by feeling it, if I was to close my eyes, I wouldn't really know any of that was there. You can feel a little bit of the lumpiness of some of the areas. So when you primer paint over that, one, it gives the paint to stick to something. You got to get something on these areas to get the paint stuck so that the next coat actually sticks. But it actually helps me see if there's any of these grooves and areas that might need some more extra wood putty, or if I need to sand a little bit more to flatten that area down. This is where I'm at right now. So I'm going to take this body, I'm going to blue tape out the neck pocket, and I'm going to take this upstairs and put some gray primer paint on it. So let's get started on Nate's Jaguar bass. So this is fairly simple, and I like to do it on everything because I learned at a very young age that if you do not tape this area out, the paint can thicken up depending on what you're doing and kind of mess up the layout of the neck falling into place and being at the perfect height it should be. So by taping out the neck pocket, it makes all of that go away. like so. It's getting it into this corner. That's the fun part. If I was smart, I'd probably cut these down to size, but never said I was. And then this stuff folds down, and I just grab it right there from the inside and lock that down into place. And there is that. So got these areas right here. I got a little bit showing there, so I'm going to cover that up real quick. Just smack that there. And now the neck pocket is completely covered up so that no paint will pile up and mess with the height of the neck. I'll just take this right here and get it right on the edge. Again, a lot of this can be cleaned up with very, very thin pieces of sandpaper and just keep it clean, keep it close. And usually you can fix all that if there's anything exposed or if there's paint overlapping or anything like that. Now I have to go back and find where the holes were, cut those out. Make sure I know where those are, so when I attach the rod, I'll be able to find that. All right, I went up to the attic to get the bar, so I need to see what lines up. I think I can pretty much go either direction here. That seems to be good. So I'm going to use the long screw to go into the bolt hole, because I learned on the other one, if you use the longer one, of course, it's already pre-drilled, and it seems to work out great. All right, Nate's Jaguar base is officially ready for the spin twist. I got 2 bolts in it. One goes right into the hole. The other one, I just put a little dent into it and it goes into the body so it's stable. So when it's up there hanging and mounted, it'll stay put. And I just absolutely love this. This is a revolutionary thing for me. All these years I've been using coat hangers and bungee cords and all kinds of stuff to paint. But now that you can do a full wrap, twist, do the sides, do the top and bottom, all those years of watching those YouTube videos of the guys at Fender, watching Alan Corona paint, watching so many others on YouTube paint basses and guitars using that same method, I'm glad to be part of the class now. Long overdue, happy to be here. Let's get to it. So in that box of paint that I got from Alan Corona was this pewter gray Krylon paint. This is absolutely perfect for what I need. It's a satin finish, so it's going to be a flat gray. I can spray paint this whole thing, just get it on, get it to stick to the body, see what I'm dealing with as far as the cuts and grooves go, make sure it's sticking to the wood putty and the epoxy areas, and see if I need to do any more sanding or wood putty type stuff. But anyway, it's sanded and has been ready to go for a couple of months now, so let's get to it. All right, it is currently about 70 degrees outside, so looks like my thermostat up here in the attic, it's about 60, a little bit above 60, so not bad. So time to paint the Jaguar base. I'm going to do a traditional primer paint with this gray color, just a satin gray, thanks to Alan Corona. Okay, I'm still learning a few lessons. One very important thing is now I'm covering my phone up with a Ziploc bag so that the phone and the lens doesn't get paint all over it. I've got a latex glove to put on my left hand so that when I'm doing the twisting and spinning, I won't get paint residue all over my hand and fingers. So that's smart. And now I've got a line of tissue paper
all over the top of my nose and cheek area, covering all of this, and then I put the mask on top of that, and then this mask on top of that. That'll help get the paint residue underneath my skin from happening. I've always had that happen when I started painting up here, so I'm just trying to learn from my ever-growing list of things to do to try to do this stuff right. So I'm ready to go. We're going to go with this satin gray and do like a traditional gray primer paint and see what we got. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do real quick just to get it on here is I'm going to shoot a little bit in the areas of the wood putty just to get it on there. And that way I've got just a little bit of a spray on those areas so that it's got something to stick to when I do the whole body. Okay, we'll let that sit for 10 minutes and then I'll come back and do another coat. So when I take my 10-minute breaks, if the heat isn't too bad, I have this old director's chair. I got my captain name heat pressed on it. This is what I come out here and sit in and put a timer on for 10 minutes and shake the can while I'm just hanging out.